Welcome to the Embassy of Mike Graham. I'm Mike Graham, and this is this week's Heaven and Hell. Angel of Death. You can't fail to have seen the story this week that I think probably turned everybody's stomach. Lucy Letby. She's the woman who was a nurse at the hospital in Chester, the Countess of Chester Hospital, and she was found guilty this week of the murders of 7 children. But not just children, babies, and not just babies, premature babies. This is a woman who was now named as one of the most evil serial killers in the history of Great Britain because she's killed more children than anybody else. She was also done for the attempted murder of 6 other babies. And if she'd been let loose anywhere else, who knows where it would have ended. But one of the things that's happened is a lot of people have started talking about bringing back the death penalty for people like Lucy Letby, because she doesn't really deserve to live, and should we really be paying loads of money in taxes to keep her alive in rather a nice prison somewhere in the northeast of England? Some people think it would be better to just put people like her to death. But the trouble is, whenever you put that to the public, they say, oh yes, we would vote for that. But the trouble is, in America, where they do it, they don't end up killing anyone. They end up keeping people on death row for years and years and years. The only thing we can be pretty sure of is that Lucy Letby will be going to hell. Daylight robbery. There's an outbreak of crime going on in this country, and don't forget, there's always been an awful lot of crime in this country, but it seems to be getting worse on the high streets and in the shopping centres, because now there's a load of kids running around, rampaging around and just stealing stuff. Not just because they want it, but sometimes because they want to sell it. Sometimes because they want to just pass it on to their mates. It's become a thing. Now suddenly, you don't go out for a stroll, you don't get on a bike, you don't go out and play football in the park, you go and rob a load of shops. And now some shops are actually locking the doors and not letting anybody in. There's a whole high street in a part of West London where the people there have just said, we let one customer in at a time and we don't let anybody else in until that one customer has gone out. People are losing money hand over fist. Millions and millions of pounds are missing. You go to a supermarket now, there's nothing on the shelves. Not because they haven't got anything, but because they haven't put anything there in case somebody walks out with it. If you want a steak, you have to actually ask somebody to bring it to you. How ridiculous is that? There's one co-op in London which has actually been looted 3 times in a day. Unbelievable. No wonder the prices keep going up, because we have to keep paying for the stuff that's going missing. And if somebody comes up to you in the pub trying to sell you a couple of cans of beans, you can be pretty sure they've been stolen. So it's not heaven. Back to school. Apparently our children are not as clever as they thought they were, because this week we've had the GCSE results, and they're about 4% and a little bit more less good than they were last year. But does that really mean they're not as smart? What it actually means is that last year they thought of a number and added a bit to it, and then took a bit away and added a bit more over there and said, oh, but there was COVID, so it's not really fair to analyse what they said and what they did and what they wrote down, because they didn't really know anything, because we didn't really teach them anything, so just give them an A, it'll be fine. And of course this year they've actually had to take a proper exam. So little Johnny and little Tilly have not done as well as they hoped. But let's hope it doesn't put them off. Let's hope it doesn't make them not go to university, where an awful lot of kids have gone this year but can't make it and can't do well because they're not well qualified enough. So the education system has finally gone back to normal. People are finally getting the grades they should get. I say that's heaven. Brummy no mates. Guess who's got the least friends in Britain? Turns out it's people from Birmingham. Now, I know plenty of people from Birmingham, and they're very nice people, but apparently they haven't got more than 10 friends, which makes them the least friendly people on the planet. Isn't that surprising? Maybe it's because of the way they talk. A lot of people can't understand what people say when they talk in that thick Brummy accent. Maybe they need to get elocution lessons, and maybe they'd get more friends. But I'm sorry to bring the bad news to you this way, guys, men and women from Birmingham. Maybe you should just get out of Birmingham, and then when you come to London or another city, maybe Manchester, north or south, you'll get more friends because people are just more friendly. That'll be heaven for you. Steaming ahead. Are you a coffee drinker or do you prefer your tea? In Britain, we're supposed to like tea more than anything else, whether it's builder's tea, whether it's that weak, horrible tea, whether you put sugar in it, whether you put lemon in it. Everybody drinks tea, don't they? Well, apparently not. Apparently now, more people drink coffee in this country than they do tea. Could that have something to do with the advent of those super expensive coffee shops? You know, the ones that everybody goes into to get drinks that they'd never heard of before because they think it's a good idea and they pay through the nose for them as well. I don't know. I'm still a tea person. I mean, you can't have coffee in the afternoon. Never should you drink coffee after midday because it will keep you awake all night. The Italians like to drink coffee after a meal. I can't stand that. I think tea and biscuits in the afternoon, definitely British. Coffee in the morning, I'll just about give you. But if you're drinking more coffee than you're drinking tea, I think you might have to ask yourself where you're really from. You might be from hell. That was my heaven and hell for this week. Don't forget, join the Embassy of Mike Graham, like it, share it and subscribe, and we'll see you next time.